Dear God, I got one question. I need to know, do revolutionaries go to heaven? And if so, may their legacies last forever and their seeds grow. Tell them that we love them so and never let them die slow. It's like we cursed to be born black. We was kings and queens, now look where we at. I know it won't be long before we take it back. I just hope I live long enough to see it happen, and that's a fact. Cause one thing when you pro-black, you might love your people, but they may not love you back. For more than 400 years, we've been under attack. We survived slavery and then they gave us crack. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? 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 I wanna know. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I hope so. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I wanna know. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I hope.
Peace and blessings, family. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Taye Speaks. We got a very special guest in the house. For the viewers who may not know who you are, let them know what your name is, King, and let them know where you're from.
My name is Taaqiy Grant from New York City.
Okay. That's what's up. Big shout out to NY. Yeah, we had a conversation earlier about names for the viewers. They missed out. So you pronounce it Taaqiy?
Taaqiy, yes, sir.
Yeah, so is that like a African name or?
It's definitely it's it's funny. It is an African name, but it has an Arabic origin, and it comes from a time when I was studying Islam. People ask me, why do I keep that name today? Is because what Taaqiy represents to me. Taaqiy represents balance, and it represents a period of time in my life where I had to balance out. Had to figure out how to balance this new life I was coming into and the old life I was leaving. You know what I mean? And I think that's the challenge for us in what we would consider the conscious community is how do we maintain our connection with our families? Because a lot of our families are still on the other side, and it's important that we don't lose sight of who we were, and we continue to commune with them and continue to relate to them in a way that we can continue to uplift them, because that's always the challenge. The mission is not for you to get your shit together and forget about the people. The mission is to continue to uplift and reach people.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Balance is important, and like you say, you got to teach the people, not beat them.
Right. So in order to do that, sometimes you have to be able to kind of walk the walk, talk the talk, and be able to be like, hey, listen, people relate to what they recognize. You know what I'm saying? And like children, almost like for children a lot of times learn better from other kids. And if people see you as someone they can't relate to or recognize, they may actually kind of disregard what you're saying. But if they see you as one of them, I'm not saying do all the stuff that they're doing, but if they see you as somebody they can relate to, you speak their language, they understand that you have a similar life circumstance. They're like, hey, this is somebody I want to hear because he knows who I am. He's not like just talking. You know what I'm saying? He actually been in the jungle with me. You know what I'm saying? The jungles of North America. So I think it's important for us to have that balance, not only in that aspect, but spiritually as well. When you think about who we are as people, we're God having a human experience. Yeah, we're God, but don't forget the human experience aspect. So the way I always articulate that is you have to have your feet on the ground and your head in the sky. Never let your feet leave the ground. As long as you're here on earth, you have to maintain your visibility as a human being. And that goes on and on and on, just in terms of who we are, in terms of what we're striving to be. I think sometimes spirituality can get you to a point where, you may actually lift off the ground, but you want to maintain that because, again, you have to connect with the people. You have to uplift them. You want to bring them up with you as well.
Oh yeah, most definitely, King. So my next question is, how did you get into the African history? What inspired you?
Wow. Good question. So my inspiration came from several different avenues, if you will. The main one, excuse me, was It was in the house. You know, it was in the house. I was fortunate to be in an environment wherein Black history was promoted. You know, like my stepfather was an avid reader, and he always had books laying around the house. You know what I'm saying? You know, even before I came into my awakening, the books were there. They were just there. Stolen Legacy, Destruction of Black Civilization, you know, books like that. They were just laying around. And, you know, the covers always intrigued me, you know, because the covers kind of spoke to what was inside, what the message was inside the book. Then a friend of mine, close friend, his father was the director of one of the main cultural centers here in New York City. So even as kids, we would kind of go there and just kind of hang out. Before any consciousness came over me, that was just a place we would just be. But again, unbeknownst to me, it had its effect. You know what I mean? It was kind of working in. So my turning point came around my early teens. And I just started wanting to know more about who we are, who I am and who we are, you know, as a people. So I picked up Destruction of Black Civilization, one of my, you know, the books in the house, and I started reading it. And I tell everyone this in most of the interviews, because that's usually a common question. That book gave me something I didn't have before, and that was Black heroes. And it sounds something small, but for a young kid, it's important. Like all my heroes prior to that didn't look like me. You know, just going back on, you know, I was thinking about wrestling the other day. I was a big Hulk Hogan fan when I was a kid, you know. I love Star Wars, so I love Luke Skywalker. You know what I'm saying? You know, and the list goes on and on and on. You know, so it just goes to show you just how important images are and the history is. You know, those are two main things, you know, the images and the history. And those two things usually go hand in hand. You know what I mean? So which kind of leads me to, you know, where I am now. But Destruction of Black Civilization, you know, gave me the Black heroes that I wasn't learning in school, that I didn't see on TV. You know what I'm saying? It gave me those things. It gave me people who I could aspire to be like, who look like me, who accomplish great things.
Yeah, definitely, King. Them images is very important because you know they do the what they call it, the Barbie doll test. And
Right,
even
right.
today, you know what I'm saying, you still see it, not only with the little girls, but even the young Black boys. Which doll is the ugly doll? Which doll is the mean doll? Which doll is the bad doll? Which doll looks like you? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
But a lot
right.
of people take it for granted.